What's happening, y'all? This is Andrew for another episode of Digging the Dead on Mirror Music. And today, I want to tell you about a little realization I had on New Year's Eve. Today, as I'm recording this, is January 3rd, so you'll see this video in a couple days. I was sitting in the living room, and everybody else was asleep on New Year's Eve. It was about 11:30 at night or so, and I realized that I was just sitting there listening to this New Year's Eve show that we're going to pull a sample from today, from 1979, which is kind of where we started the year too, right? Talking about how underrated 1979 was, and I was like, what has happened to me? What has happened to me? Because 2 years ago I had not listened to more than Grateful Dead greatest hits. I'd heard Ripple and that kind of thing, but I'd not really delved at all into even the studio versions of stuff, much less the labyrinth that is the live shows. So to find myself, without thinking about it too, to find myself listening to a New Year's Eve show on New Year's Eve as a way to kind of bring in the new year was just kind of a, excuse the phrase, kind of a trippy experience. So anyway, I just want to share that little story with you before we get started. I'm going to come back to the show from Oakland on December 31st, New Year's Eve on 1979. In 1979, I'm going to come back to it for a different episode as well, because there's some really, really cool stuff in here. But for today, we're going to do the opening of the second set, which is Samson and Delilah, which is, if you've followed this channel and this journey for any amount of time, know that's one of my favorite things. So this is Samson and Delilah from Oakland on December 31st, 1979. I don't know that I've listened to all of this yet, or was not paying terribly close attention when it happened. So Samson and Delilah. Let's see what we got. This is one of Kevin Tobin's Matrix recordings. Kind of hear him futzing around because this is the beginning of the second set. I think it's the beginning of the second set. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, please. A little bit longer intro than I'm used to as well for this song.
If I had my way, I would tear the whole building down. Delilah was a woman, she was so fine and fair. Ooh, she had good looks, God knows, gold black hair. Delilah sure gained old Samson's mind. When first I saw this woman, Lord, she looked so fine. Delilah, she climbed up on old Samson's knee. Said, tell her where strength lies. In his place, spoke so fine. Talked to a fire. Samson said, Delilah, you got off my hair. It shaved my head. Finished my hand. My strength coming natural as any old man. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had
Tom service.
That has lived on earth. One day while Samson was walking along, looked down on the ground and saw an old jawbone. Stretched out his arm, God knows, changed rope like thread. When he got to move, 10,000 was 10. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this whole building down. Now Samson and Delilah, they got an attack.
I'm trying to hear. It sounds like somebody else is playing with
On the
them.
line's back. You read about this line, he killed a man with his bow. Samson got his hands up around that line's jaw. Rip back, God knows it, killed him dead. And the beast made honey in the lion's head. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this old building down.
That was a fake ending. Take the car around the track one more time. Maybe a couple more times.
If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this whole building down. If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this whole building down.
it occurred to me, I had to write this down so I didn't forget, but like it occurred to me like where he does the little drum, the tom riff at the very end. I tear this whole building down. Does it ever go straight into a drums there? Like I know it doesn't in this show, but are there instances where that happens? I mean, I guess I could look it up, but I didn't know if y'all knew. That would be a fun kind of false ending segue into something even funkier. Um, yeah, man. Like there's so much to say, and I know you don't want to. You're here to hear the music. You're not here to hear me ramble. But it's this is kind of a good full circle moment, right? You have a full circle. So we started the beginning of this year with the early shows from 1979 and pulling songs from there, and this is the new year now, but closing that off with the last show that they played in 1979, which is not I wouldn't call it a perfect year, but I mean, there's a lot of transition, right? This is when Brent joins the band. This is where Donna and Keith leave. I mean, all of those things are happening this year as well. So there's, I don't know. I feel like there's some brightness to, especially some of the later shows in that year where they're plowing new ground, right? As opposed to going back through the same channels they've been going through for 10 or 15 years. So it's cool to hear that exploration happening. And obviously Brent's harmonies are great too. But I did want to say too, I'm scanning back through the track list of the 1979 show and the New Year's Eve 79 show, and there are a ton of funky things going on in here that I'm going to have to come back to this show. I don't know if I'm going to do it in the next coming weeks, but definitely there's a Jack Straw to Franklin's Tower. There's Looks Like Rain to Alabama Getaway into the Promised Land. There's Sugar Magnolia to China to I Know You Rider. There's Althea to New Minglewood Blues. There's apparently a really epic Not Fade Away and Stella Blue. Like there's all kinds of epic combinations and ones that where they're taking things that you would normally see together, China and Ryder or whatever, and they're adding something else to them, right? So I'm looking forward to hearing or experiencing with y'all, I guess, those combinations too. And if I haven't told you Happy New Year yet, Happy New Year. Hope you hang out with us for the rest of this year too. This show is going to go on as long as it moves my soul, which it has been 2 and some years now and hasn't shown any signs of abatement yet. So thanks for hanging out. This is Digging the Dead on Mirror Music. That was Samson and Delilah from New Year's Eve 1979. I'm Andrew. Take care of yourselves, y'all. I'll see you next time.